This lesson provides an overview of Picklist and discusses how to grant an administrator Picklist permissions. This lesson also covers the multi-step process to create a Picklist, including exporting a Picklist, editing the Picklist, importing a Picklist, and then adding a Picklist reference to your XML file.
Picklists are used for validation on background and personal information imports and are reportable options in ad hoc reports. Here, we have an example of marital status with 5 options available. Creating a picklist is a multi-step process. This training will cover the following steps: exporting a picklist, editing a picklist, importing a picklist, and adding a picklist reference. In this training, we will not cover cascading a picklist, where one picklist triggers another, working with picklist mappings, or running picklist reports. In order to configure picklists, a user must be granted permission in Admin Tools, Set User Permissions, Administrative Privileges. Then, select the checkbox under Picklists. This allows an administrator access to manage the picklists in the instance. Only a few administrators should have this permission, and the customer should have a protocol in place to decide when and what changes will be made to their picklists. Each instance has a default picklist file. To edit a picklist, you'll begin by exporting the existing picklist file located in Admin Tools, Company Settings, Picklists Management, Export All Picklists. Always start by exporting and saving your picklist with a date and a version to a picklist folder. You'll also notice that the picklist is a CSV file. CSV stands for comma-separated values, which means that the computer takes data from tables and uses commas as the separators, where you would normally find a column break. This is a very popular format for moving basic data in between applications. Typically, double-clicking a CSV file will open in your default spreadsheet editor. The header row, including the caret character in column A, are required elements. The header row should never be altered or reordered. This tells the system how to include and associate the data for your picklists. But let's look at each of the columns. Column A, Picklist ID. This ID is used to connect the list to a field in your XML data model. It's important that this ID is always matched exactly to the reference in your data model. We'll discuss this later in the section. Column B, this is the internal key to the system. You should never enter data into this field. It'll be system generated when importing the file. Column C through E, min value, max value, and value. These fields are used for org chart icons and are only used in particular scenarios. -1 will appear for any field that's not used for icons. You'll learn more about these fields in the relevant mastery courses. Status. This determines if the value will appear in the picklist. Options for this field are all caps, active, all caps, obsoleted, or all caps, deleted. Active items appear in the drop-down. Obsoleted items do not appear, but the links are preserved and the data remains reportable. Deleted breaks any links to the data. External_code. This field is not used by the system, but can be used to hold external keys. Parent option. This is used when cascading picklists. EN_US. This is a label for the different languages. These fields tell the system what to display in each language. Multiple language labels will populate in the next column, so FR_CA for French Canadian would follow EN_US in column J. Note: if you live or work in a country where commas are used in place of decimals in the US system, the regional settings on your computer may interfere when you're using CSV files in Excel. If you run into errors saving and uploading your CSV files, try opening your file in OpenOffice or even Notepad to verify that commas are being used and not semicolons. After exporting a Picklist file, there are a number of ways you can edit it. These options include changing labels, deleting values from a Picklist, marking a record obsolete, changing the order in a Picklist, adding a new item to an existing Picklist. Let's see an example of how these changes can be made. To change a label, simply edit the label in the appropriate language in the CSV file without changing the other fields. To add a new item to an existing Picklist, insert a row to the spreadsheet. Enter in the appropriate Picklist ID, min value, max value, value, status, and labels. Do not enter an option ID. The system will assign that. To change the order of Picklists, simply change the order of the rows in the spreadsheet. To delete an item from the Picklist, simply change the status of the item to all caps, deleted. Remember, deleting an item will break a link to any data using that option, and is generally only recommended during setup of new Picklists when a mistake is made. To mark a record obsolete, change the status to all caps, obsoleted. This will keep the data previously selected, but will not display the entry in the drop-down for anyone to select moving forward. After editing a Picklist, save a new version of your file. Then, import the updated CSV file to your instance via Admin Tools, Company Settings, Picklist Management. There are two options for importing a Picklist: Import Picklists and Import the default prepackaged Picklists. We'll use the first option, as the second would overwrite our Picklists. Next, click the Browse button to select your file, and pay close attention to the question, are all the Picklists new? Since we've edited an existing Picklist, we'll select No. This will add the updates to the existing Picklist. Adding a new Picklist or selecting Yes is outside the scope of this course. Clicking Submit will send the Picklist to the instance, and when you see the green message, Template has been uploaded and saved, you can then view the updated Picklist in your instance. Adding a new Picklist reference will allow you to link a list of previously created values to a field in Employee Profile via the XML. In the following slides, you'll see an example of how to add the Picklist deposit type to the Employee Profile so that an employee can select his or her own deposit type. When adding a Picklist to a field in Employee Profile, first, we'll need to export the Picklist file and identify the Picklist that we'd like to add. For this example, the customer would like to have a custom field that shows the deposit type for all employees. Here, we can see the deposit type is listed on lines 4 through 6. For now, we'll note the Picklist ID in column A, lowercase deposit, capital T, Y, P, E. Make sure to pay attention to the spacing, symbols, and capitalization. To add a Picklist reference in your data model, download the latest version of your succession data model from Provisioning. Open your data model using an XML editor and follow the steps seen here. First, locate the standard element that needs a Picklist. Here, we're going to use Custom Field 2. and we'll make sure to first update the label to read Deposit Type. Next, we'll insert a line after the label, but before the closing tag for that element. Third, we'll use the Picklist ID that we previously noted. We'll use the code shown, inserting our Picklist ID in between the quotation marks. Remember, this ID is case and space sensitive. Finally, ensure that the permissions are correct for the field. Here, we want the employee to be able to edit this field, so we've added a reference to Custom 02 in the Employee Right Permission Role type. If you're adding a pick list to an existing field, you'll see it in your instance once you've uploaded the new data model to provisioning. However, if you added a custom field that was previously unused, you'll need to add the field to the employee profile via the admin tools. If you're unsure how to do this, please refer to the earlier lesson in this section. Once you've set the layout, navigate to the profile of an employee and click the Edit link next to his or her personal information. Find the modified field and click the drop-down arrow to see the list of available values. Congratulations! You've now successfully added a pick list and a reference to your instance.
Now that you've completed this lesson, you should be able to successfully complete the tasks on the screen in a live SuccessFactors system. Don't forget to use the resources available to you if you run into any configuration issues or have a question. Good luck!